All right, welcome back to Money Monday. First and foremost, thank you for watching. And today we are going to talk about taxes. Nobody likes to talk about taxes. I don't like talking about taxes. There's a lot of information you could mistake and then it would cost somebody a lot of money, jail time, I don't know. Before we get into this, I would like to wish everybody a happy April 15th. That is the day that taxes are due. They're due today. So if you haven't already filed, I encourage you to file an extension and pay your estimated taxes. Legally, I am not an accountant. I am not a tax professional, a tax preparer. This is not tax advice. These are tips and tools and things to think about when you're getting ready to do your taxes. I'm not going to tell you how to do your taxes. I'm not going to walk you through how to do your taxes. Everyone has a different situation. Information is always changing. So as a precursor, I would like to let everybody know that this is about federal, not about state. State is very different from state to state. So yeah, I'm just throwing that out there. Federal, not state. Even though a lot of the stuff overlaps, but it's very specific to every state, which is why a lot of people don't touch it. They don't touch the topic. They don't want to learn about it. Florida is a good state to be in. Texas is a good state to be in. This is from 2018, so it might have changed by then. This tax video primarily relates to eBay. It's 7 tips for eBay taxes, but you could still apply a lot of these principles to Amazon, Shopify, Etsy, Poshmark, self-employment, like whatever, your own business is kind of like a lot of this stuff is going to overlap. Number 1 is to separate accounts. And what do I mean exactly by that? So you have things that you're going to be buying for your business. And you're going to be buying some things for your personal things like Christmas gifts for your kids or grocery shopping, maybe underwear. Things that are personal should be in their own account. Things that are business related should be in their own account. The more they overlap, the more complicated things are going to get. And then when tax time comes, it's just going to much more of a headache than it has to be. So I 100% recommend separating your accounts. You could get a business checking account and a personal checking account. You could have your personal checking account and you could use your PayPal account for business. However you want to set it up, just make sure that the accounts are separate. It would be easy to separate your PayPal and to just use your PayPal account because a lot of people are already using their PayPal account for eBay. Anyways, the whole point is just to keep them separated. A PayPal account could be a great place to start. Pretty easy to download transactions and organize them. A business checking account would be another great place. Usually you can download the last year of business transactions very easily. Credit cards get a little bit more complicated, but can still be done. Highly recommended, separate your accounts. Number 2 is to know and to collect your required documents. So what do I mean by knowing and collecting your required documents? Or whenever you sell something online, that company tracks how many sales you've had and how much you have sold. I don't remember exactly when it came out, but one of the documents that's very relevant to eBay, Amazon, Shopify, whatever sellers is the 1099K. So the 1099K means that you had over 20K in gross sales and over 200 transactions. Once you have had that amount of sales, eBay is required to send a 1099K. In this case, my 1099 came from PayPal, not from eBay. It's the payment processor, so it would be PayPal if they're the payment processor, or Etsy, or Amazon, or Stripe, or whatever you're using. They send a copy to you, they send a copy to the IRS. So that form is definitely going to be needed to pay your taxes. Another form you might have, a W-2. A W-2 is one if you're working the normal 9-to-5 job. A W-2 is a lot simpler to do your taxes with. It's a lot simpler than a 1099K. It's a lot simpler than a 1099 MISC. It's a lot simpler than any of this entrepreneurial stuff. This self-employment, self-run business is a lot more difficult than a W-2. So that's why some people are very happy working a 9-to-5 job, getting paid, The government already takes out their share of the taxes every pay period with a W-2, but they don't with a 1099. Let me say it again. Taxes are already collected and remitted on the W-2 on what the government thinks you will owe. I'm pretty sure it's always more than you're gonna owe. That's why you get a refund. But on the 1099K, you're getting everything, and you're gonna have to pay taxes either quarterly or at the end of the year. You're supposed to pay quarterly though. It's not to say that the exact number on the 1099K is what you're going to pay taxes on, but that is a gross figure that you're going to need when you do them. Do research on the forms, understand what they are, understand what they mean. Hopefully this helped a little bit, and look up what a Schedule C is on a 1040. That's kind of what you're gonna be filling out, is the Schedule C on the 1040. If you didn't know that eBay issued a 1099K, you might be in trouble. Number 3 is to know your reports. What do I mean by that? PayPal, you can download your 12-month completed transaction history, so money in, money out. You can download at the end of the year. You could download it every month. You can use this information to help you understand the flow of money in your life. Here is an Amazon report from January 1st through December 31st. I will put a link in the description how to download this report. This may help you if you don't know how to get this report. PayPal also has reports on their website. I'll put a link to how to download the 12-month history of PayPal, which makes it kind of advantageous to use the PayPal debit card for your business account, because that 12-month history is pretty easy to download. And once you have the reports in a CSV, the Amazon report comes like that. But a lot of reports will come in a CSV format, and that's comma separated value. And that's essentially just data that you're gonna be pasting into a spreadsheet or opening it up in an Excel. A lot of these are gonna be CSV. PayPal is going to give you a CSV document. I use Wells Fargo, they also give a CSV. And I also noticed debit accounts are easier to download a 12-month history than pretty much any credit card account I've ever owned. Credit cards like to only give you 90-day history easily, but debit cards will give you a 12-month history pretty easily. Once you have those reports and data in a spreadsheet, you can sort data. I will put a link in the description how to sort data on a spreadsheet. This is a big key that I use all the time, is sorting data. That's huge. If you didn't know how to sort data, you're gonna love me right now, because that is huge. So these will all hopefully be helpful tools for you. We are on number 4, know your deductions. All right, so I was really confused growing up. I would always hear my dad talking about tax deductions. I didn't understand what the heck a tax deduction was. Essentially what a deduction is you have what you brought in, and then you subtract deductions, and then that gives you a figure that is taxable income. Deductions are important. Saving money is also important. So I wouldn't just go crazy saying, oh, it's a tax deduction, I'm just gonna spend on everything because it's a tax deduction. Say you got a 1099K for $25,000. That does not mean you are taxed on that entire $25,000. There is this deduction, these deductions that will lower that taxable amount. These are what you need to maybe research. Go to the IRS website and read about deductions. Talk to people, talk to an accountant to see if those deductions apply to you. I'll put a link to a really helpful eBay guide on TurboTax. It talks about deductions a little bit there. But I'll provide a couple examples. Fees. Obviously, you're not going to be liable for fees. Those are like a cost of doing business. So the fees are going to be subtracted from that gross figure. That's like PayPal fees, eBay fees, Amazon fees, whatever fees. Shipping, cost of shipping is going to be deducted from that. Returns and refunds, that's income that you're not going to be taxed on because that income went away. Poof. Supplies, that's like your tape, your boxes. And a big one for businesses is mileage. driving around doing businessy things. Mileage is super difficult to track. I've had issues tracking it in the past where I have deducted probably less than I've probably missed out on a lot of mileage deduction because I have not been tracking it that well. Number 5 tip is actually an app called Mileage IQ. And this pretty much changed my life when it comes to tracking business mileage. So it tracks your starting locations and your ending locations. It uses a very, very small amount of data and battery to track that. Say you go from your house to the post office, you could swipe at a purpose, you can pick post office, and it tracks that mileage for whatever categories that you want it to be in. You can add your own categories, does something without even you thinking about it, and then you can go in at the end of the week, categorize them all. You could do it at the end of the day, you could do it at the end of the month, whatever works for you. It tracks your mileage for your business, and it's literally as easy as like swiping right or swiping left. It is free up to 30 classifications a month, I believe. And usually if you're running a business, you have more than 30 classifications a month. So I pay for the premium. It is $5 a month, $60 a year. When I signed up, I got a 20% off code from somebody. I will leave a link in the description to a 20% off code. I wouldn't recommend this service to anybody if I wasn't using it myself. I pay for it. I'm not sponsored by them. It really is a great service. They're backed by Microsoft. So there's big brains and big money behind this company. And it really is a huge tax savings, a huge headache savings, a huge organizational savings. 100% recommend this. I recommend it so much, all of this is tip number 5. Number 6 is to know your dates. Most everybody knows taxes are due April 15th. That means 2018 taxes are due in 2019 on April 15th. The IRS encourages people that are self-employed, meaning that you get paid without a W-2, you get a 1099 or a 1099K or a 1099 MISC or whatever. They encourage you to pay quarterly, which is about every 3 months. You make an estimated tax payment, so that's April 15th, June 17th, which means the 15th is probably a Saturday, so it goes to the Monday, and then September 16th, which means Sunday is probably the 15th, so it goes to the Monday, and then January 17th, and that goes into the next year, so that would be 2020. They want you to pay quarterly so you don't get behind on taxes, so you don't have a huge tax bill at the end of the year, and so you don't get penalized for not paying quarterly. Not paying quarterly, you'll get penalized. I think it's a calculation. I've been penalized anywhere between like $300 and $400, but it is really easy to pay quarterly. It's really easy to pay on time. You just go to the IRS website. I will put a link in the description to the IRS website where you pay. They make it very easy in big pay. There's a big pay button. You just go there, you make a payment, you document it for your records, and you made a payment. Then when you do your taxes, they will ask you if you made any other payments, and then you type those in, and then it uses that during the calculation. If for some reason you're watching this video and you haven't filed or paid your taxes, I would encourage you to do what's called an extension. File an extension if needed. Know your dates and file an extension if needed. An extension gives you until October 15th, 10/15 of that year, so that would be of 2019. But that does not mean you don't pay your taxes until then. That means you get the paperwork done by then. You still are liable to pay owed taxes by April 15th without penalty. If you don't have your taxes done, I encourage you to pay them on the IRS website, file for an extension, and then figure out how you're gonna get your taxes done before October. Maybe you need more time to go through reports. Maybe you need to organize it better, whatever. Maybe you need to seek professional help. File the extensions, pay the taxes, get the paperwork done by 10/15. The tax return, they call it a tax return, but you're not really getting a return of anything. But get all of that done by October 15th. And a way to know how much taxes are owed is a tax estimation calculator. I will put a link in the description to a tax estimation calculator. Usually it's about 25% or so of your income minus your expenses, your adjusted gross income. That's just an estimation that I use for simple calculations of what I'm going to be owing is the 20. Number 6, know your dates. Hopefully that helped. All of this information is available online, but I figured I'd throw it out there just in case you didn't know. Tip number 7 is it will get easier. Consistency. Every year you do your taxes, you're dealing with the same forms. You're understanding them a little bit better. It gets easier every year. If you have intelligent conversations with a tax preparer, with an accountant, by reading things on Google, by reading IRS doctrine, by watching YouTube videos, you learn and understand everything a little bit better. Consistency is going to make the whole thing easier. Picking a day maybe to reconcile and to look at your books, picking a weekend every month, or doing it daily, some people do. Going over your mileage every day, every week, every month. There is a guy who specializes in reseller taxes. His name is Mark. He goes by Not Your Dad CPA on Instagram. There is his Instagram right there. He's helping people with taxes. He adds value to the reselling community right there with a lot of good tax information. Would recommend maybe cruising his website, reaching out to him. If you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer. I'm not an accountant. None of this is tax advice. For all you know, this could all just be for entertainment purposes. So I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or in the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching. I do value your time. Good luck with taxes, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.